Unfortunately for most, the dreams that we once had kind of get shifted away when you reach adulthood. Those goals you have set before yourself don't always pan out because reality hits. I think that's a key crucial point in the Aquatope on White Sand, a series that aired in the summer and fall season of 2021. This is my review of this series, a 24-episode series that was done by p.a.works. The director for the series was Toshiya Shinohara, who did A Lull in the Sea, Inuyasha movies, and Lupin the Third movies, and being an original series written by Yuko Kakihara, who did Tsuki ga Kirei, Digimon Adventure Tri, and Chihayafuru. The Aquatope on White Sand opens up with a girl named Fuka, and after giving up her career as being an idol, she finds herself wandering until she eventually comes across this aquarium known as Gama Gama. And upon entering Gama Gama, she's kind of struck by the wonders of the aquarium itself, and eventually meets a girl named Kukuru, who is the active director of this particular aquarium. And having given up on her dreams, she decides over time that she wants to help Kukuru with her dreams. And those dreams are to save Gama Gama. This aquarium that is not really doing too well. A lot of the equipment is breaking down. The actual owner, who is Kukuru's grandfather, is kind of letting it go. He's decided that since he's getting to the age that he is, that he's not going to allow the aquarium to keep going. And so he's decided, for the betterment of the fish and everything, that he's going to shut it down. Despite this, Kukuru, his granddaughter, is not wanting that to be. She wants to keep the place running, and so she's trying to raise up money, grow the popularity of the location, and save it. So thus, Fuka and Kukuru are doing everything they can in order to promote the place, bring awareness of the aquarium, and ultimately save it. At the same time, you're learning about the other attendants of the location, the history of it, and the future of it. And through these interactions, you're learning more about Kukuru. You see that she is quite young. She's a little bit immature in a lot of regards. She doesn't really know how to react to other people. A lot of her love and desire is in the fish itself. She's kind of given up on everything else around her, including her own schoolwork, just for the sole sake of focusing on owning and taking care of Gama Gama. The same time, Fuka giving up her dreams once before, now gaining new dreams in helping Kukuru, learning about the fish, and learning about the love of the fish themselves. And additionally, almost this magicalness that's about Gama Gama. There's this Kijimuna that's like trickster that almost seems like it's inhabiting the location, and people that come there having some sort of issue or difficulty they're facing will often see visions of things that inspire them or help them in their current situation. One thus being Kukuru, who often sees visions of her mother and father, as well as this other figure. And for example, you have this other man that comes by, and he had this whole situation where he built a business with his brother, but then lost his brother, but then eventually sees his own brother in this aquarium. So there's a magic about Gama Gama. There's a reason for wanting to preserve it, this magicalness of it, this culture about Gama Gama that's different than anywhere else. When you come there, you feel like you're part of the people, you're learning things, and you enjoy it for more than just it being a business. And this is something that was instilled into the place by the grandfather. As you find out, the grandfather has worked on other locations, he's helped other aquariums, and created networking around the sole sake of taking care of the fish themselves. And of course, like I said before, Kukuru being a little bit more immature, she doesn't really understand this stuff, especially early on. And as the series goes on, again, you have this fight to keep Gama Gama open until eventually you get to that point where it's decided if this place will continue or not, and how that affects not only Kukuru and Fuka, but the other attendant and everybody around. So my thoughts on the Aquatope on White Sand. I struggle with this series, honestly. And it was really when I got to the finale of the series that I was really kind of wishy-washy on my thoughts overall of the series. Really wanting to let it stew for just a little bit to really think of where I really stand. And I really don't think that my mind's changing at all. I think this show is a really strong slice of life show. If you're looking for slice of life, go no further than the Aquatope on White Sand. This is through and through slice of life. It's not heavy drama, it's not melodramatic, it's not really going for anything else. It does have a little bit of a sense of a supernatural, as you have this Kijimuna that's kind of presence that's within Gama Gama, the ability for people to kind of see these weird visions within Gama Gama that almost inspire or comfort them in some way. But overall, everything's really centered around people, their lives, the goals they set before themselves, their dream ambitions that sometimes don't always pan out, and ultimately finding joy in what you're doing. And I think for the early segments of this series, for the first half of the series, it was nailing that. It was doing a really incredible job at that, as you see these characters having this struggle to save Gama Gama. They love the place and they want to take care of it. They love the animals. They all have this central goal that they're all kind of surrounding each other with. And ultimately the struggles and the sorrow that one face when they're pushing against this unmovable object. But unfortunately, as the series hits its halfway point, we see a time jump. This jump to a different kind of mood and a different shift in narrative where it's not always about what you want that you end up getting, but how you make the best of what you're given. It's the ultimate statement of life. It's the ultimate statement of reality. When reality hits and you don't always get what you want, but yet you try to make the best of it. And I think that's the message that the series is trying to give, despite it not being the most entertaining. And I think why I come to that conclusion is with the first half of the series, you do have a lot of characters that are really trying to struggle with what they want to do. You have Kukuru and her almost immature nature, but I think most of the characters find what they want in that first core. And what I found is when we got into the second core, most of it was really just Kukuru jumping back and forth, really not deciding if she's got her dream or she doesn't have her dream. And I think that repetitive nature of the second half was really what kind of bogged it down, because we really didn't see too much growth with the characters around Kukuru. It was really just Kukuru spinning around in circles. But I do believe that that insecurity is really the aspect of the slice of life that I do appreciate. This is reality. It is something that she's facing, and it is something that she's not sure about. But even still, like most p.a.works titles, it does have a large cast to work with, and I did appreciate all the characters that surround Kukuru and Fuka. The grandparents are great. There's a lot of knowledge and wisdom within them. There was a little bit of romance with Kai and Kukuru. A lot of the cast with surrounding aquariums that they kind of get involved with in the later parts was really fantastic. A lot of them were kind of characters that were misunderstood, where you have this feeling that there's a little bit of a clashing happening, but then you realize behind the scenes that a lot of them have a lot of inspiration that pushes them as well. It really does get heavy on the concept of not really judging a book by its cover, but also learning to work with other people in order to get to this one ultimate goal. Everybody seems to have the same idea of what they want to do in their future, whether they discover it now or they've always had it. It's just realizing how to work together in order to bring that to fruition is a key crucial role. Additionally, that communicating to other people the love of something that you have. When you have this thing that you love so much, how do you bring that awareness of something to other people and almost grow its fandom? Visually, the show is fantastic. It's of course made by p.a.works. They do an incredible job on shows. A lot of the character designs are really fantastic. A lot of the visuals are great. They obviously use a lot of CGI for the fish and everything, but I think it really does blend in well with the art style and the overall visual of the show itself. The lighting and everything, I think, really helps it blend together to create some very beautiful spectacles. You're obviously dealing with aquariums that are often really big and very visually pleasing in nature, and I think it really did pull that stuff off. I really loved a lot of the characters. A lot of the voice acting was fantastic as well. Everything that p.a.works did here was really incredibly done. I just think the only really area that it does fail a little bit is probably in the writing. And I almost want to place it in pacing, if anything, just because it feels like a lot of this stuff should have been shortened in certain areas than others. Like I said, the very first half of the series was very powerful. You had a goal set before you, this one thing that all the characters were really focused on together. And as it gets into its second half, a lot of that gets muddled, and a lot of the characters are kind of scattered and trying to figure out what they want to do, and it ultimately makes it feel like it's spinning its wheels. Especially, like I said before, when it comes to Kukuru and her character development. She often finds inspiration in doing something, and then she takes a step back. And then she realizes, oh, I need to try again, then she takes a step back again. And it does this repetitively throughout the entire second half of the series. I think in the end, I did enjoy this series. I just think that it's unfortunate that the second half was as weak as it was. Like I said, it had a very powerful first half, it lost its focus, and it never really got it back throughout the entirety of the second part. A lot of the growth gets left behind in the characters, and everything kind of becomes stagnant. But even still, if you're looking for a solid slice of life show, this is through and through it. And I think it's one of those cases where you can make an argument that a majority of this show is really just about life. And that life isn't always grandiose. Sometimes life is boring. Not to say the show itself is boring, but that it feels as if everything's kind of playing out and the characters don't really have control over it. But yet, similar to how the characters laid out in the later parts of the show, sometimes you just have to make what choice you made the correct choice. And I think that was the grand message in this entire thing. Sometimes it's not a message that a lot of people want to hear, but I think it's a reality. And I think the writers, if I had to say anything, the writers' ability to allow their characters to accept something, not that they want, but that they choose themselves to accept, is the big message in the end. It's kind of similar to my love of something like Hanasaki Roha, which is a series by p.a.works as well, an original series as well. I felt like a similar big message there was loving what you do. But that's my review on the Aquatope on White Sand. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of this series or if you're going to check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.